And there's obviously many other examples of settlements that are even prior to this 1800s era. But they never got a plaque. The narrative just became, in the 1800s, in the middle of nowhere, we just pulled up our bootstraps and built a flawless neoclassical palace with limited resources, challenging transportation logistics, and even before modern machinery, all in unimaginable record time. Yeah. If there is flaky context and it's difficult to find names or information on the original builders or owners, it may be because the later founders who repurposed the site had no intention of honoring their legacy. How grueling was the work? How poorly were they treated? How many of them died? Their labor built much of the infrastructure, but they were seen as expendable. The powers of the time, often local elites, industrialists, white supremacist groups, or political factions, had little incentive to preserve their stories. In fact, they had every reason not to. The elite industrialists and land speculators profited off of mass displacement and labor exploitation. The urban reformers wanted to reshape cities in their image, often erasing poor neighborhoods, immigrant enclaves, or indigenous sites. Even the Library of Congress refused to archive certain ethnic newspapers for the longest time. What's more plausible than conspiracy theories is the open secret that immigrant built districts, black enclaves, and the Chinese towns that I'm talking about were systematically bulldozed, rezoned, or deliberately excluded from the official story. The real reset was a top down rewriting of American history that elevated certain groups as founders and builders while attempting to bury others under stigma, silence, or rubble. And it's not like this isn't still going on today in some fashion, right? Right. So no, it wasn't Tartarians or giants. It was people. Hardworking, oppressed, skilled people. And when the economy crashed, the rich took their land, they took their buildings, and they took their credit, and they wrote the unclean out of the story. We keep asking, how could they build like that back then? They did. But we weren't meant to remember those hard workers, only the billionaires. If you want a real conspiracy, cue up the tag team soundbite. You know those strange neoclassical buildings in tiny towns? You look them up and it says Old Central School established 1891. But here's the thing, if it became a school in 1891, it had to already exist before that. So the real question isn't when it was used by the public, it's when was it actually built and who built it, when did it change hands and purpose and why? Buildings don't just magically appear when they're repurposed. If a courthouse was once a mansion and the repurposed date is 1880, then the original structure could be from 1840, maybe even earlier.